with the hand, that we begin to digitalize and automate the system, that it becomes a minimum standard that if you're seeking for an appeal, this is the minimum level of time which you must get it. I have an appeal I'm seeking. It's almost 5 years now. I don't have a date. I have been in court for over 20 years.
This is a whole kettle of fish on its own. We could go on for an hour talking about judiciary reforms, but I think this is a conversation that we have to have another day. But Sobeye is complicit both ways, as a politician and as a lawyer, because he's also part of the legal arm of government. So either ways, he has his hands full. But gentlemen, I want to thank you for being part of this conversation. We'll keep our fingers crossed and look forward to the court hearing come February 2021, and then from there we'll obviously know what the way forward is. Sobeye Eli is a member of the All Progressive Congress in River State, and Eugene Abels is a political commentator. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the DSS and the recent alarm that they raised. Of course, CAN responded saying, do not cause panic. We'll be right back after the break.
I mean, how can anyone think that if I tell him to do a will, it means that I wish him dead? He himself is a dense person.
We have a lot of clergymen dabbling into this whole thing, mystifying it, concocting it with relating to end time and the rest of it, and then creating a lot of fear.
Yes, there's unemployment. Yes, there's insecurity, and then we should be coming down. We shouldn't be talking. Seriously, just this week, you have increased the electricity tariff again from 2 naira to 4 naira.
4 naira.
So what is that? And then when we talk, Femi Adesina tells us we're waiting. Really? When Ghana is giving free electricity to citizens. Are you for real?
There's a joke about these monkeys because they come within the estates next door and they'll carry your pot of soup from fire. So now I know why. It's because we're the ones inhabiting their space.
We're the ones inhabiting their space. The monkeys are protesting, and that is what we're having. We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I committed offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, oh, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya. Which America?
As it then mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
recently, the Department of State Security Services, DSS, raised an alarm over suspected plans by some elements working with external forces to incite religious violence in states across the country, such as Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, Plateau, Rivers, Oyo, Lagos, and some states in the southeast. In response to this, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, alleged that the alarm raised by the DSS was an artificial creation aimed at causing fear and panic among people. They also expressed that they perceived it as a ploy to stop some clerics from expressing their views on the state of the nation. Now, to discuss this conversation this evening, I have Dennis Amakri, former Assistant Director of the DSS, and of course, we're also being joined by Reverend Joseph Hayab. He is the Christian Association of Nigeria President in Kano. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Dennis Amakri, because your former people raised this alarm, obviously, warning that people do not whip up sentiments that could cause disorder, that could cause disunity in the country. I'm wondering to myself, there have been so many allegations of, this about to happen, that is about to happen. And for some people, the intelligence agency in this country collects intelligence, not necessarily raising alarms that could cause or send fear to the hearts of people. Who signed off on this warning that was put out, and why did you think it was a good strategy?
Well, intelligence agencies the world over do operate this way. They gather intelligence, and when they get certain alerts, then they inform the public, or they inform the particular sector that is concerned. For instance, in this particular case now, it's just like the worded alert. When you have even foreign embassies do it, when there is going to be a problem, if our elections, for instance, have been known to be very violent, all the embassies will send out alerts to all their indigents that you can travel out of the country or you can stay where you are, but be very, very careful because there is possibility of violence. It's an intelligence report that is given to people. Now, when the intelligence agencies do that, that is for public. There are two stages of it. One is for public, one is specifically for those people who are targeted. Because if they find out that these are the people perpetrating it, what they do is to go for them or watch them. They can put them on surveillance, and then, of course, by the time they will create that problem, they are preempted. And that's how it works.
Okay,
all the world over.
Let me butt in there. You just told us about advisories that are put out by embassies. And advisory is totally different from what the DSS put out. The DSS is saying there are people who want to make trouble. There are people who are trying to disunite the nation. That's different from an advisory that, oh, there's Boko Haram in the northeast. If you're traveling to the northeast, or there's going to be elections in River State, and the elections in River State are always violent. So if you live around there or you walk around there, be careful. That's an advisory. It's totally different from saying there are people who are going to make trouble. If you are the DSS,
no,
you should hold on. I'm trying to make a distinction here. Because of what you put that out. You're saying this is what embassies do. But what you did was say, this is what is going to happen. There are people who are going to come under the guise of religion to cause trouble. Now, if you do know these people, why do you not go straight to these people, arrest them or question them, instead of having to come out to the public to put out these statements? Of course, people will start wondering who's going to cause trouble. And so there's room for all kinds of speculations. Why do you not go straight to do that instead of putting out that? An advisory is totally different from what you just put out, sir. In case I'm wrong, please correct me.
Well, advisory alerts, warnings, they are all the same. But it depends, like you said, there are some that are preemptive and some are just to inform the public. Right now, the SSS have come out to tell you that there are some people that are trying to use religion to foment trouble. If I can just recycle right now, review what you have done, what is happening in the United States right now, there is an alert by the FBI that there are armed groups that are going to attack in 50 states of the United States if Donald Trump is not inaugurated. And that alert is out right now. Now, they don't go around and start arresting people. They might either put them on surveillance, they might either watch them, and if they actually see them in the act, then they will be arrested. Because we're in a democracy. It is these same people that will tell you that, oh, they are just coming to arrest us, we've not done anything, okay? Because one thing people don't understand is that when they enjoy peace in a country, the security agencies are working. For somebody to say that the security agencies are raising alert, fear or panic, I think it just shows signs of ignorance of what the security agencies
Talking about raising panic, and that's where we have Reverend Hayab. Reverend Joseph Hayab is the CAN president in Kaduna State. Reverend Hayab, you're the one who spoke on behalf of CAN, reacting to this message put out by the DSS, saying that they're causing fear. And you did not just refer to this one statement by the DSS. You have made reference to other statements that are similar. And for you, you feel like it's causing fear and panic unnecessarily. Why do you think so? Why do you think the DSS has to do this?
Thank you very much. I've listened attentively to the effort by my father, by his age, I believe. We've lived in this country for long. We've followed the activities of the State Security Service, even during the days of the NSO. We know how operations are done, but this kind of new pattern of public statement is a little bit different from what you are trying to project or you are trying to convince us to see that is the same. It's not the same. The fact about it is that we've had crises, like me coming from Kaduna. We've had crises. People have lived in their home and they were attacked, killed. What exactly did the security agents did? People didn't know anything happening and their homes were burned. Hoodlums or criminals or bandits came and destroyed a whole village. What exactly did we do? People have already developed fear and uncertainty in their minds. And what keeps happening is that every time we just hear DSS coming with a press statement, as if the work is about press statement, it's not about silent investigation, it's not about going out there to find concrete evidence to show that some people are out as enemies of Nigeria. It's not about going after them, not to even allow them complete their plan. It's just about giving people information. You see, when you want to give me such information, I must also reflect and see, before now, what did you do in situations like this, or even situations that were openly violent? What exactly did you do? If you think we're ignorant, I'm not sure we're ignorant, because we also follow the patterns of work. DSS shouldn't become another. You see, there's something going on in Nigerian social media. This same press release by DSS, give it another 6 months, give it another 8 months. If you are patient enough, give it another 12 months. You will find another person repeating and circulating this kind of story out there. This is what is happening. So we felt DSS shouldn't just join the band of those who just make statements. Statement is not what Nigerians want. What Nigerians really want now is that if there are enemies of Nigeria, and according to your statement, if you know about them, dislodge them. Stop them from operating. But every day you are telling us there's going to be tension, and when there was real tension, there was nothing that happened. You just keep on put fear on us every day, every day, every day. We love your work, and we've been supportive of the work. But I think that when the work is beginning to become more of a media work, not an action work, we have also the role as citizens, as people who want to see you do the best, to remind you that, no, wait a minute. This alert every day isn't really the work we know you to do. And when you were not doing alert, you were actually doing, because we know the kind of capacity you have. But because we've turned it to be this alert thing, we are not using that your capacity to prevent crisis, to prevent crime, but instead just making it a media statement.
Before Mr. Makri responds to you, I want to come in there. There have been, and not in any way trying to attack you, but there have been several religious leaders who have made very sensitive statements that also could be capable of, causing some form of havoc, permit me to say. And some of them, wield some power in terms of their congregations. So they have a huge following. And do you think that maybe this could also be part of the reason why the DSS put out this warning saying, just in case somebody's thinking about doing this, do not do it? Maybe, just maybe this could be the reason. And let's not also forget.
I do understand.
It's a question.
I do understand what
just also recently, Reverend Kuka has...
by religious leaders, whether from whatever angle. If the statement is inciting, security have always have a way. And we also have laws in states and in this land that treat people who make statements that are inciting. Have we evoked that? Have we evoked that? Or we just now put an ignorant Nigeria who really do not even, is struggling to earn a living, is struggling to find a source of livelihood. We put him into the fear and confusion every day with statements that we ourselves know that what we're supposed to do is act. We know DSS to be a very active intelligence gathering organization, and we know the difference and the role the police play in such things. But of recent, we've turned it to be more about the DSS becoming more, you see, I don't want to use this time to begin to remind us, DSS, where some of these things started. But I believe strongly that not many Nigerians are happy with this kind of statements coming from the DSS. What Nigerians want is, if you are gathering intelligence, go after those who you believe you have enough credible intelligence to show that what they are planning is evil, dislodge them, stop them from doing. Nigerians will just be commending and praying and wishing you well. We're coming up. Before Christmas, there was also another one. Some few months ago, there was also another one. Have we turned to be statements first? You are too good for that. We know what you can do. When your men are out to protect, when your men are out to get information, when your men are out to really ensure that evil do not happen in our life, we know what they can do. But when we now begin to allow these issuing of statement becomes the order of the day, then it becomes no longer the DSS with us.
Mr. Makri, would you like to respond before I go back to my next question?
Well, I think the Reverend gentleman wants to be the Director General of the SSS, where he will direct them on what to do and what not to do. Apparently, does not know the inner workings of the organization. The LSO he was referring to, I was recruited as an LSO officer, where we later changed to SSS. That's right. And we know how things have changed. Things have changed. Believe it or not, things have changed. Before, we don't even have a public relations or press spokesperson. But now we do. And because of the recent times, there is need to inform people. There is social media going on. You cannot keep your mouth shut when things are going on in the social media, which could be misleading. So there is need for the DSS to come out today and say, look, be careful about this. I don't see any reason, anything wrong about that. If somebody is going to tell you that, look, don't follow this road because there's something going to happen in the road there, and you are telling me, don't tell me, go and stop the thing that is happening on the road before you come and tell me.
Quickly, because
that's not how it works.
Quickly, because we're running out of time, Mr. Makri. Quickly, before we wrap up, you're saying that the DSS's job is to warn us now, and this is a new strategy of sorts because you're saying things have changed. But is this the best line of action, issuing statements? Because I'm thinking this is also what he's dragging you about. Is this the best line of action? Because you're saying that that something is happening on social media. Is that the job of the DSS? We have the Ministry of Information and Culture. They're supposed to be the ones who are correcting or changing narratives to try as much as possible to keep us united. Should that be the job of the DSS again?
No.
Is this not, a square peg in a round hole? Quickly, in one sentence.
No, not in one sentence. You cannot tell me that the DSS, as an intelligence organization, let me tell you, there is what we call open source information, open source intelligence. And there are many things happening in the social
My
media.
question is simple,
that
Mr.
the
Makri.
SSS
Is
itself
this the
uses.
best line of action?
Okay.
Looking around you, Nigeria is some form, I mean, we were more like a boiling pot of hot water. Is this the best line of action? Because everybody has to do, whatever they're doing has to be in the best interest of the nation. And the people that we're talking about here are our people. Is this the best line of action going forward? These statements issuing.
One thing that we have to understand is that we are in the information age. And the DSS is not wrong in informing people about potential threats that are facing the country. They will continue to do that. That's for the general public. At the same time, they go specifically to those areas where those threats have come out and then nip those things in the bud. That's how it works.
And finally, quickly, Reverend Hayab, quickly, what do you have to say in response to that? Going forward, is this what we need? Could there be a better way to go about it? Quickly.
Well, this is where some of those who have been privileged to serve us get it wrong. You are in DSS, but you don't have monopoly of ideas of everything. You work with us to get information. You work with us to nip crime in the bud. You need us as we need you. But when we begin to tell you some of the things you don't do right and you think we need your office, then you are getting it wrong. Nobody needs your office. What we want is that you do it as an organization that is right. I'm just happy with some of the questions thrown to you that you do not clearly want to answer them. Is it the new pattern? Is it the way you want to do it? Don't you have the National Orientation Agency? Don't you have other agencies that are supposed to address issues among people? Do you now begin to do this job of another media thing? Because the more you go to media, the more you create more different versions of the story.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, unfortunately. Thank you, Reverend Joseph Hayab is the CAN president in Kaduna State. Also, Mr. Dennis Amakri is a former DSS agent and he's a security consultant. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for giving us your time on this particular issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, I'll be giving you my take in just a moment. Well, here's my take. 20+ years of democracy, yet we cannot have free, fair, and credible elections devoid of violence and bloodshed. The drag between the APC and the PDP in River State definitely has to stop. Politicians have to stop the blame game and begin to prioritize us, the people, because that's why they're there. They are supposed to serve us. Enough of these distractions. We cannot continue like this forever, can we? Now, why are we whipping up unnecessary sentiments in terms of, instead of beefing up security and guarding against issues and circumstances that could lead to it? Instead of raising unnecessary alarms and pointing fingers, there's work to be done in Nigeria. At this point, we need to work to heal and foster unity and not feed the flames of disunity. This is what we desire, and that's what we must do. I am Mariana Kuhn, thanking you for joining us today on Plus Politics. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 when they pay.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Contrary to popular belief, Corona is not a hoax. The virus is real. Be responsible. Wear a mask. Wash your hands with soap and water and avoid crowded places. Maintain physical distancing. Be responsible. Together, we can overcome the pandemic.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Waze, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayiwa Masale. Why am I laughing at myself?
Your glasses.
And today I'm joined by Isi Ofodile and
Welcome
Maury.
to the
Hopefully
family.
she's joined us again via Zoom.
Welcome to the family.
Please don't welcome me.
Wasn't it just 2 weeks ago or last week I was teasing you? Oh, welcome on board.
You know, when I went to see I actually I've been running away from this glasses matter since I went to see the ophthalmologist rather. So when they did the diagnosis, they said I needed to wear corrective glasses. I said, okay, I'm coming. Oh. Then I left it to. So
and decided to do.
It got so bad. Like every morning when I wake up, I'm literally crying, as in tearing up bad. You know. So.
Oh, but it's not so bad, is it? Huh? Now you are officially 4 eyes.
Well, I had to get my favorite color. So if I thought whatever is worth doing is worth doing well.
Oh yeah, you know we are on your cuisine now, so we stick to the normal, practical type.
No, you people are too old school for my liking. Is Maury there? Maury, how you doing?
Maury's here, thank God. Maury's fine. How
Hey,
are you?
Mama. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? I noticed your red glasses, and I saw that you said you went to the
ophthalmologist.
How's that coming along?
They've given me to be wearing now, so we are wearing and using eye drops. So hopefully my eyes will be corrected.
Oh wow! So it's like permanent. You're going to be wearing it for a very long time.
Not really. It's supposed to be a corrective. So maybe I'll probably go back again after 6 months.
That's what they tell you. Hi, Maury.
But Maury, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. And there's another wave of COVID-19. You know, I'm trying not to be anxious because it's not going to help anybody. But it's kind of like it's getting to me.
Absolutely.
I'm okay.
Absolutely. In fact, today's conversation is centered around COVID. So we and it's our ladies' night out. So we don't have any guests. So we have time to really discuss this COVID issue. Exactly. All right. So here's what we found as today's quote: When a leader culture of impunity
encourages.
When a leader encourages the culture of impunity, the society is lost, and it makes the work harder for the rest of us. I think it cut off in my script.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's from Wole Soyinka. When a leader encourages the culture of impunity, the society is lost, and it makes work harder for the rest of us. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yes.
You know, when some of our religious leaders, some of our, government, when they are doing all of these things, they just make life really, really tough for the rest of people that want to adhere to the rules and regulations.
Especially those that want to listen to them. You know, it's just like, sorry, with all due respect to the President of the United States, it's just like a Trump right now. How can you tell people not to wear a mask? And there is COVID. People are dying. Like flies, they're dropping like flies. It's so true. So we have to be very careful with the things we get to listen to, and especially we filter some words are correct, some words are not correct. So you filter some things and know which you should listen to.
Absolutely. All right, so Maury, it's going to be an interesting conversation today. All right, so from a pastor calling men of God who wear masks baby of God, to immigration officers seizing a passport because seizing a lady's passport because she asked him to wear his nose mask. All of those are our focus for tonight on Ladies Night Out. But first, we'll take a break for what's in the news.
Contrary to popular belief, corona is not a hoax. The virus is real. Be responsible. Wear a mask. Wash your hands with soap and water and avoid crowded places. Maintain physical distancing. Be responsible. Together, we can overcome the pandemic.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
You're still watching Waze. Maury, so we're going to come to you. What did you find for us in the news today? Maury, are you there? Can she hear me? Maury? Hello? Okay, I think what...
We've gone AWOL again.
Can Maury hear me now?
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please, what did you find for us in the news?
Okay. Oh, okay. So according to the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, he has said that the earlier resumption date, that is January 18, is just a cast in stone, and that schools might not be resuming on that day. And parents on social media have been going haywire because, obviously some of them want their kids to go back to school. Some of them actually like the idea. And since we have like two parents, that's you and Issy, what do you guys think about the whole, situation on ground?
Let me take it from the parents' angle. I'll take it from an educator's angle. We are all confused, to be candid, because we heard that we are supposed to resume on the 18th. Then we got another memo saying that it has been what's it called? Postponed indefinitely. Then we also got another one saying that probably, which is what we have currently, which is that probably it might be moved forward. So we do not know which is which yet. So we are waiting till we get confirmation from the government.
So for me, as a parent, first of all, I'll speak as a parent. I'll say that whether we wait till 18th to resume, or we resume on the 30th, or we resume on the 1st, if the government is not ready, they are not ready.
Exactly.
And time again, they have proven that they are not ready. The only children right now, honestly speaking, that are at an advantaged position in this whole school resumption thing are mainly the boarders. Because with boarding house, what a typical boarding house would do is that once the children come in, they isolate them for like 7 to 14 days. Once there is no sign of anything, then they can now resume. Exactly. But there is no visiting, there's nothing, which is what we did last time in our school. Okay. But the fear I have with all of this is the students that go to school every single day, that go day students, right? Those are the challenges. So even if the government says, we're going to resume on the 50th, if there's any date like that, they are still not ready. They've not gotten their acts together. They don't show that they have the capacity to manage this thing. So I'm just wondering, the reason for postponing the resumption, have you put in XYZ in place? The answer is no. So that's my point. So what is the point of postponing it? The children are just there, idle, not doing anything, playing left, right, and center. You're driving the parents crazy.
How are you engaging them? How do you intend to engage them? And this comes back to the school. I'm not even talking about the private schools, because the private schools can always do something about it. I'm talking about the public schools. The public schools are the ones that really need this intervention right now. And
what have the government put in place?
The earlier the government actually puts things in place to actually resolve this, the better for everybody.
Yeah, so we're not talking that today. So our time for What's in the News, we thought to bring someone very special. I met her, she's my friend's daughter. So I went and I visited them, and I was just asking, so what has COVID taught you guys. And she said something very interesting, and I thought that it was worth mentioning, right? When we see young children doing great things, we should encourage them. So Salma Basharu is a 13-year-old year 9 student of Day Waterman College.
Wow.
And she is the founder of Spain, that Stop Poverty in Nigeria.
Wow.
So amazing initiative. So Salma calls herself and anyone who wishes to join her initiative spinners. So officially, I am a spinner.
Oh, we are
Hi,
all
Salma. And she's joined us live via Zoom. Salma, are you there?
I am, Auntie.
Hi, darling. How are you? So it's so interesting. I wanted to, not pass this opportunity for the world to see what made you to start this initiative called Spin. So maybe you just share with everyone else. You've told me already, so just share with everyone else what you thought about and why you decided to start this initiative called Stop Poverty in Nigeria, which is Spin.
Great initiative.
Okay. Thank you for having me. So SPIN is an acronym for Stop Poverty in Nigeria, and it came to me during the in the middle of the pandemic. So basically, I was coming home with my mom. I was coming home with my mom from somewhere and my parents, and then I looked out of the window and then I saw all the children on the street. And I was just wondering what was going on in their minds. And then I thought, do they feel lonely? Do they feel like they're not loved? Do they miss being loved? So I saw and I thought, I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it looked like they were truly lonely, and I knew I had to do something to stop it. Like I had to be part of the change if there was even going to be one. So once I got home, I decided to write a bucket list. And at the top of my bucket list, I put to deliver 100 packages to the less privileged. And the things that I was going to include in the packages are not just basic things that people need. Of course, I'm going to include that, but also things that other people who are privileged to have stuff, I'm going to make them feel privileged because they truly deserve them more than we do if you think about it. And I need to make them feel loved because I do truly love them. Thank you.
Awesome.
And she's so eloquent.
Oh, yes.
I wish all my students were just like you.
Oh, yes, she is. So, Salma, yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So, Salma, after you did this, have you been able to, pass this message across to your peers in school to also, reach out to individuals or children who are less privileged?
Okay. So all I have to say is that take a moment and look at the world around you. It may take some time for your eyes to clearly open and see all the troubles going on in Nigeria, but sometimes you just have to open your eyes wide, because there are some people who don't have the same opportunities and privileges as you, even though they really want to, they just can't. So you have to appreciate them, because it's God's grace and glory that gave you the opportunity to live such a great life, and not everyone has the opportunity. So I think we just have to appreciate them. So take a look at everything around you and see what change you can make.
Yeah, you can change.
Maury, do you have a question for Salma, or I should go ahead?
I honestly don't have a question. I'm dumbfounded. I want to hug her so tight. Like, how is somebody so young, so smart? Like, her parents are doing such an amazing. I love her so much already. You're doing an amazing job, Salma. Don't stop.
Yeah,
okay?
she is actually. And I was going to ask Salma, for anyone that is watching, right, and the person wants to be part of this initiative. So for parents like us, adults, that want to support you, what would support look like for you? And for young children that want to become spinners, right? So what should they do? How should they reach you and all of that?
Like, how should they reach me? Okay. Yeah. So I'm currently working on a website.
Okay.
But before the website, it's going to be ready soon though. Before the website is ready, I'm going to print out some information and give it out I'm going to start with my family members though. But once the website is ready, I'm hoping it goes out to the rest of the world, and they'll be able to sign up. They'll be able to sign up and join me and be spinners if they want. Like, literally anybody can be a spinner. I just want to give everybody an opportunity, because people may have also seen this but didn't know what to do about it. So if they want to be part of the change, I know it's my idea, but this project is truly bigger than I am, honestly, if you think about it. So if they want to join me, it's completely free. So once my website is ready, they can just sign up, donate money. They don't have to do. but like anybody can be a spinner, honestly.
Oh, thank you so much, Salma. We love you, and we are going to keep supporting you, you know, even when the website is announced and all of that. As you have time, we'll keep bringing you on. And please, for anyone that is out there, you know, people that are passionate, they don't remember money.
I wish,
please,
I wish she would do it before Children's Day,
yeah,
so that we can bring her
so we
in.
actually have to do so much. So she has seen a problem in Nigeria, and she's decided to take the initiative. So for us on Waze, is about support, and we are about solutions. We're not focused on the problem. We know that there are problems, and that's why we thought to, you know, bring Salma on tonight. Thank you so much, Salma, and my love, and you know, tell your mom and your dad we love them. They're doing a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Salma.
Thank you, Salma.
All right, so we'll take a short break. When we return, today is Ladies' Night Out, so we're talking pastors all the way, immigration officers all the way. We'll see you after the break. Stay with us.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, as a highly religious nation, where do we draw the line between faith and disregard of the rules of the land? Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has left some of us in total state of confusion as to how some of our religious leaders have constantly shown their disregard for government laws. This can also be seen by men in uniforms, as you see a good number of them clearly flaunting the wear a face mask policy at their duty post, and that they are supposed to uphold. You know, could this be a leadership problem, or some people just believe they are simply above the law? That's the question for tonight. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at Waze Show Africa1 with the hashtag Waze Show, or send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So today we have good news. For those that want to join in, they want to call into the show, at the other break, when we take the second break, you can call into the show to just 1 minute or so. You'll be able to share, we'll be able to hear what you have to say for those that prefer to call in. But tonight is Ladies' Night Out, and that's why we're giving room for people to be able to call in. All right, so two things happened. So maybe we'll call the video of the immigration officer first.
Absolutely.
So people will know why we're having this conversation. If they would just play the video for the immigration officer, so you see it, then we now have the conversation.
Give my passport, please. Dan Tala, give me my passport. Give me my passport, Dan Tala. Yes, Dan Tala, give me my passport. I've got passport because I asked them to give me to wear their mask and they refused. And they're telling me to delete the picture because I am not, I've refused to delete it. They're delaying me. As the Nigerian Immigration, I'm a troublemaker. I said nobody is going. I'm sorry, Oga. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Give me my passport. Give me my passport.
What are you doing
Or you
here?
charge me.
Eh?
Give me my passport.
Eh?
Give me my passport.
What is the problem?
My problem is that I asked them to wear masks. My passport because I asked them to give me to wear their mask and they refused. And they're telling me to delete the picture because I am not. I've refused to delete it.
All right, so that is one of many stories. So I'm so happy EC is on set with me today because I remember the initial lockdown when the government announced the lockdown, where we had to come to the studio under the strict lockdown that we had in March, I think, last year, 2020.
March, April.
I remember several times I had to call the PRO of the police to bail me out because his policemen...
Us, you mean?
Yeah, well, to bail us out because his policemen were constantly harassing. And the only thing I told them that, Oga, you are not wearing your nose mask, so you do not expect me to bring down the window.
COVID is out
COVID
there.
is real. So if you are interacting with different commuters on the road that are flaunting the rules, I am legally supposed to be on the road because I'm working.
Exactly.
I'm amongst the people that are on the exemption list. So you are not wearing your nose mask and you're asking me to bring down my window. I cannot do that.
And what
and
if
that,
you
that
are
caused,
a carrier?
That caused us to be, several times we were stuck. Held back in the what's it called?
At the checkpoints.
At the checkpoints during the lockdown. So this woman is one in many.
Absolutely.
So the question is, if these people that are supposed to be the ones upholding the laws are the ones flaunting the rules, where do we even start from in this fight for, what's it called, curbing the numbers of the rising numbers of COVID-19? Let me come to you, then I'll come to Maury.
It is us. It's all about us. We, the individuals, we are the citizens. We are the ones that are supposed to, uphold the law. And the men in uniform are not any different. So it's just like, for example, let's take COVID aside. From day one, they say, don't beat the traffic light. You see government officials blowing one way. Not once, not twice, time and time again. And even if you're stuck in traffic, you hear them honking the horn and with the siren. And if you don't get off the road, they might even hit your car, which I have even experienced. They might hit your car, or they might even come down and, harass you and intimidate you. So we have seen this time and time and time again. So COVID is not an exception. They think it is just business as usual. Ignorance has a huge role to play.
Is it ignorance or is just blatant impunity? Because how can an immigrant, do you know that the first point of call to any nation, who the first people you meet are the immigration officers? If you are saying that COVID is real and I'm coming into your country and I'm not seeing you exhibiting, then who else should be the ones wearing the nose mask? Let me come to Maury. Maury, are you there?
Okay, first. Yeah, I'm here. Firstly, to address the immigration officer issue, I think that I honestly don't know how to feel about it, because if you are in the diaspora or if you travel out of Nigeria and you are coming in, the amount of stress that it takes you to, on the website, on every step of the way, they're asking you about COVID-19, they're making you do a COVID test. There's even a specific one, a PCR test. So to now be an immigration officer, to be the one acting like that is unheard of. But then I also think that this is not just a Nigerian issue. This is a general issue. The way we have people like this here is how we have them everywhere. So how I try to cope is just to understand that not everybody can have sense. Because if you try and sit down and analyze it, you're just going to run yourself crazy. Science is telling you this thing. There's fact on ground, but you still choose to, and then you see that you are educated. So it has to be something wrong with you somewhere beyond comprehension, because I don't understand.
Okay, so I was having this conversation with someone this evening, and we were just having this conversation, and it's so interesting. You go into a government, maybe like a conference where government officials are there, and the number one citizen of Nigeria, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is there. You will see that every other person is wearing their nose mask. Aside him. And that is supposed to be the other way around. Right? The differentiating factor between Joe Biden and Trump is that he is leading by example. So where is the role of leadership? If we say that you are a leader, you are supposed to lead by example. As the number one citizen of the country, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you are the number one image of what Nigeria should look like. If you are not wearing the mask, is it a thing of, big manism, or what exactly would make the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria not wear a nose mask? Or is it because he's assuming that every other person has worn a nose mask, so it means that he's immune? No. What you're doing is that you have clearly set a bad example for the rest of the people to follow. And if everybody is, doing this in their little sphere, right? As for instance, if you come into Plus TV, every time you would see the MD of the company wearing his nose mask.
Exactly.
Because if you are supposed to be the top of the company, you are the one that is supposed to tell the people, Oga, Madam, you see me, what am I doing? I'm wearing my nose mask, so you must follow suit.
Exactly.
Maury, you want to come in?
No, I was even saying that the employees see you wearing a nose mask, they automatically already know to do the same. Because if the guy is wearing it, who am I not to wear it? So it's just plain simple mathematics.
Absolutely.
So another thing is this. How do we address this issue? This issue is we have a leader who doesn't wear his nose mask, or he doesn't wear his mask. Now, there is a difference between a boss and a leader. And most times when they're talking about the president, they call him their boss. So there is a difference between a boss and a leader. A leader leads by example, just like we have with Biden. A boss is a Trumpy. And a Trump is do as I say, not like I do. Because if anybody does the thing President Trump has done, I'm telling you, the person would have been thrown into jail without even asking questions, So where we have a boss says, do as I say, go there, jump into the fire, but I won't jump into the fire for you. So it's a simple logic. Our leaders have to understand that they are here to serve us, and they are supposed to lead by example. And the earlier they get to know this, the better for us. And we as a people, are we a reflection of our leaders? Because the moment COVID the lockdown was lifted, we all went haywire. Back, you go into the marketplace, people are not wearing their nose masks. And if you ask them, oh, why are you not wearing your nose mask? It's as if they're looking at you like you are some kind of alien, for doing what is right. So it calls a lot to mind. Are we responsible for the kind of leaders we have? Or the leaders themselves are responsible for us? It's a two-way street. It's a symbiotic relationship. We can't exist without the other.
Okay. So we're moving to the clerics, because now this one, we're going to spend a lot of time there. Feathers. Hey. All right, so we saw a video online, and we thought to add this to the conversation, because we are a highly religious society. We can't take away religion. When you're talking Nigeria, the first thing you think is either Christian or Muslim. We are a highly religious society.
Absolutely.
And how many of us, just submit to the authority of our pastors? We are plenty. Anything pastors say, we do. So we saw this video, and we thought that, this would be the base or the foundation of the conversation that we're going to have. Because now, if you go on social media, there are different things. And, different conversations from different men of God. So now, it got me thinking, first of all, we have a divided house. I don't know about Muslims, so Christians, we're very divided. Totally. And maybe that is why certain things are not happening or not working for us, because one pastor that you revere will say one thing, another pastor will come out and say another thing. So for me, I think, let's just watch this video from the clergyman. Yeah.
But if you still want to wear a mask, wear it. But don't call yourself man of God. Who is that person? Baby of God. You are a baby of God. Don't ever, once you wear a mask, you are just moved. You have moved. You are a baby of God. You're not even son. We can't call you son of God. Son is too high. We can't even call you child of God. So we now start talking like Peter. We now preach to as newborn babes. Desire the sincere milk of the word of God, that you may grow thereby. You can frown if you like.
Frado, bros.
I have Zoe.
Yes!
The life of God.
So I want to hide my face. All right, so because we don't want to just talk from a point of talking. We want to be able to bring facts, right? I Googled, I said, what does the Bible say about government laws, right? And the scripture, Romans 13, came to, so I checked. So I took it from the New King James Version because people like the conk one, right? And the title is Submit to Government. It said, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. This is God telling you that there is no leader that is in place that I have not put there, right? So if a government is telling you that do social distancing, wear your nose, you see, that's why today I'm not absorbing the government from the conversation, because they are also the problem. It's like talking from two sides of your mouth. If you as the government, you decide to do the right thing, and you decide to do the right thing, and you observe those protocols that you are putting in place, every other person will follow suit. So let us leave government aside. We know that they have a problem. Let's leave them aside. But the men of God, the clergymen, the mosque and the churches and all of that go about telling their members, imagine a pastor saying that if you wear a nose mask as a pastor, you do not have the right to be called a man of God. Instead, you should be called a baby. You do not even deserve the right to be called a child or a son of God. Where do you even start from with this kind of conversation?
I'm shocked. First things first. I don't even know where to start, to be candid. But one thing I know is this. You can't push your opinions on people. We all have diverse opinions, okay? And this man of God has made his own opinion. But we also have another set of men of God who also said,
no, we will come to that. We'll come to that.
Do this.
We'll come to that.
They are being practical.
You know what? Let's not move too fast. I like what you said, that you should not shove your opinion down other people's throats. Let us leave it there. Maury, are you there?
I'm here. I'm right here waiting for my turn. So firstly, let me start by saying that it is the audacity of the clergyman for me. The audacity. He said it with so much confidence. My tummy was turning me when he was saying the video. When I was watching the video. But there's one thing that I always tell anybody, because even me, as you're seeing me like this, coming from the Muslim perspective, I'm still not Muslim enough to some Muslims. You understand? I'm too haram for the halal Muslims. This time I'll explain what the difference is between the both. But I always like to say that it is very important. I still posted it on my Instagram like last week. It is very, very important to know God for yourself, so that when your religious leaders start to mislead you or start to misbehave, you will at least be able to put them in check, or at least leave if you cannot correct them. So instead of just following everything these people say, just try and find God and know him for yourself. That's just what I have to say concerning this.
Okay, so we're going to continue the conversation, because now this is one man of God that we showed you. We have other men of God that brought out tweets, brought out messages, that we're going to bring to the fore. But we'll do that right after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So if you're just tuning in, it's our ladies' night out, and today we're focusing on clerics, government officials, and the culture of impunity. Now the phone line will be open shortly. We hear that they're already calling. It's 09060005719. That's the number to call. So we also have your messages on WhatsApp, and if you want to join, please let us hear what you have to say. You can join the conversation. Tweet at us at WaysShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow, or send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so that's the because we hear people are calling. Just give us a minute, because I want us to be able to lay out all the facts. Now we have a tweet from the RCCG GO, that's Adeyemi. If they can pull out that tweet for me. The tweet was he just said, stay safe, wear a mask, right? And someone now responded to that tweet. Very funny response. And the person was saying something around, you are the one preaching faith, right? Where is your faith? And healing or something. Let me pull out that. Yeah. So with all due respect, sir, where is the faith, miracle, and healing you preach? Where is Psalm 91 in all of this? I mean, they are. If you go on that Twitter thread, it is a lot of conversation back and forth.
Exactly.
Right? I don't want to go too much deep into that, but I'm just trying to tell you the mind of different people, the minds of Nigerians, right? So a lot of people are divided on this conversation because people don't understand. If you understand, and if our men of God are responsible enough to tell the people that in a land where you are, the law is first. The law comes first. You must first of all obey the laws of the land, because it is God himself that appoint leaders.
But
right?
if you take it the other way, you will still find out that the leaders are not obeying that law.
Hold on. We have already put the leader where they are.
And that's the reason why we are getting such a reaction from them.
So hold on. Then Paul Adefarasin also sent a tweet because they lost a dear pastor of his, right? He lost the pastor. And I'll read that tweet. He said, "It is important to remind the community about the deadly nature of COVID-19. Its mutant virus strain. Please do your part by following all the recommended precautions. That way you are able to protect yourself and others who become proximal to you. God bless and keep us all." Now, these are diverse. I mean, my pastor has come out several times to say, in my church, for instance, you must actually register online to say you're coming to church. And you must wash, there are sanitizing booths in the church. Then when you are in church, you're not allowed to bring down your nose mask until after the service you leave, right? So I'm saying that people, to even attend church in Daystar right now, you must go online, register that you are coming. They need to prepare for you that you're coming.
Exactly.
We have totally
putting things in
put
perspective.
Everything in place.
Yes.
So why do we have this division in the Christendom? That's the question. Maury and Isi, maybe you want to come in first before I bring in Maury.
For me, why we have the division in Christendom is because we don't speak in one voice. And another thing is this. I would look at it from two dimensions. I would always look at your level of education and how enlightened you are as a pastor. As a pastor, I don't think the pastor that spoke earlier is as enlightened and as educated as Adeboye, Jill, and Adefarasi, even as Daystar's pastors, my precious Dr. Sam. So it is important for us to put this into perspective when we are talking about.
Do you think it's just about enlightenment?
I think it's about enlightenment, exposure, and how ignorance has a huge role to play here. You have your faith. I agree you have faith in God. But I also believe that you should look at your facts and your figures. What are the facts? People are dropping like flies because of COVID-19.
So now, let me explain something to you. And that's why when I started the conversation today, I was saying something about faith, right? We believe that we can be healed.
Absolutely.
So maybe that is where the conflict is coming from. And I honestly want somebody to be able to call and explain this to me. There is a part of faith and there's also a part of responsibility. Because even faith without work, the Bible says, is dead. Right? So, Maury, let me come to you. Sorry, I'll come to you again, Isi. Let me come to Maury.
So I'm going to be coming from a neutral point in all of this, right?
Please do.
And I'm going to use this example because we've experienced hatred. We know that there's something called love. Because we've experienced people like the clergyman, we know that Pastor Sam is actually one of the wise and good ones. So I think that's just how it is with life. But it is you as an individual, it is left to you to decide not to listen, to a person who's not making sense. The clergyman is responsible for his own life. Whatever he chooses to do with, if he likes, let him walk naked the whole of Lagos. That's actually his business. But you as a believer, as a follower, should be able to know when somebody is going off the radar. And that's my stance in all of this.
It's just like having a fake man of God and you have a real man of God. There is something that is written in the Bible that says, by their fruits you shall know them. The fact that the pastor said, okay, how do I put this one without ruffling feathers? But let me digress a bit, okay? I don't want to say this. But the key thing is this, that we should take this into cognizance, that we have the right to choose what we listen to and what we take in.
Okay, so Isi, the question is, have we been empowered to be able to think for ourselves, to differentiate between right or wrong?
That is why
Let me tell you something. The role of a pastor right now in Nigeria is quite huge.
Exactly.
They influence the thoughts. They influence everything that people, huge numbers of people listen to these people almost on a daily basis.
Do you know why?
So hold on. Let me finish my point. So you are talking from a point of you have been liberated from your mind. How many people can think for themselves and differentiate between right and wrong? That's the question. Even where the government has failed, where you're supposed to educate the people, you haven't educated the people. So how can they differentiate between left from right?
There's a saying that religion is the opium of the masses. We believe that whatever the pastor says is key.
It's Lord and Master.
It's Lord and Master, because we are poor in our heart, and we are poor in our thoughts, and we are poor in the way we try to, in our environment, in our infrastructure, everything about us is actually poor. So if you even look at the people that actually listen to people that actually try to lead them astray, they have a mindset that is so myopic, and they just stick to that thing.
Let me take a
the
comment
pastor says.
From Benson. In simple terms, I hear that the calls are coming in. We can take calls now if it's open. Okay. In simple terms, right? No one eats with dirty cutlery or unclean hands. There are definite consequences. Similarly, wearing the nose mask is also an attempt to keep the infections at bay.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So if you even follow the rules, when you're supposed to eat, are you not supposed to wash your hands? These things, it's not like it is out of the ordinary. So I don't understand why pastors are kicking, some pastors, not all, because we cannot generalize.
Exactly.
Some pastors are kicking against, what's it called? The members wearing of nose masks or taking the precautionary measures. Because these things are simple hygiene. I have not seen anything about COVID that is out of the world. Trust me. I was saying in the makeup room that before, if I had the kind of faith I had for my health, my healing, if I had faith for money, I'll be a billionaire, because I don't believe anything can come near me.
Exactly.
But that does not mean I will be irresponsible
Totally.
and not do my part.
Totally.
So that's my point, that when we are talking to clergymen, we are asking you, we're appealing that the number of people that are what's it called, are not thinking straight, that did not have the mind of their own, there are a lot more. So when you are doing that, you might be saying that. It is fine for you to say that. But the people that are listening, they're taking your words hook, line, and sinker. How much faith do they have to be able to stand?
It's just like the devil. You say, I want to tempt the devil. Meanwhile, the man of God, who is stronger than you, his faith is like a mustard seed, and yours isn't even as small as a mustard seed. And you go and say, I'm going to fight the devil, and the devil just eats you all up.
All right, so someone is asking me to calm down. I'm too tense. Sorry, that's why I don't talk about these kind of things. But you guys have to bring my leg out. But Maury, you were going to say something about haram, and you said you were going to save it for later. What was that about? Because
I was going to explain the difference between being halal and being haram. It's just halal are things that are permissible in Islam, and then haram are things that are not permissible in Islam. That's just basically the difference. So I was saying that even me, as I am like this, I am not haram enough. I am not Muslim enough for some Muslim people. So I feel like the separation is not just in Christianity, it's in both religions. You have the extremist Muslim people who will also say that you should have faith, and nothing is going to happen to you. I mean, but I don't know, for some reason it's not rampant. I don't know what miracle is going on somewhere, but we praise the Lord that it's not as much. But I just feel like it's in both religions, to be very honest. There's the extremists and there's people who actually use their brain as God has ordained us to.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we have some comments. Maury, you have some. Let me see if we can just get in a few comments, because when I posted this on social media, I got a lot of backlash. Someone sent me a message that you just want to use the opportunity to, to bring down the church. That's why you're bringing this topic. I said, no, it's not. So, and I don't know why it is so difficult for us to have a conversation around religion without everybody fighting.
Without being emotional.
Without, not even that, you can be emotional like the way I'm raising my voice, but I'm saying that without us having to insult each other and think that there's an ulterior motive. The reason I'm saying this is because the large population that do not know better, they are much more than the people that know.
Exactly.
Right? Because even the government has failed in terms of education. People are not enlightened. People are not properly educated. So they don't know their left from their right. And that's why a government official can bring 2,000 naira and say, sell your vote, and they will sell their votes gladly. So already, we are already in a situation where is it precarious, or what do they call it?
Is.
You understand? We're already in that situation. So how do we even make it better? I would expect that the responsible thing for men of God that hold that power of influence to be able to influence the minds of people would do their part to say, you know what? Yes, we have faith. Yes, we have all of these things, but obey the laws of the land and be responsible. That's all we are asking for. Because if they truly look at the number of congregants that they have, if they truly take on this thing and they start to talk about this every Sunday, I tell you, the numbers will drop faster than when the government talks.
Exactly.
You know what? Let's take the comments.
Okay, my comment is from Angela, and Angela says, we have to understand that clergymen are men. No, let me take this again. We have to understand that clergymen are men before men of God. With different opinions, you have to understand not everyone can have same views. The world is better because of our diverse views. Okay, and that's from Angela. I think she's correct in what she says, but the key thing is for us to understand that they have been called to the pulpit, sorry. And because they've been called to the pulpit, they should, how do I put it now, guide their congregants right. That's my point of view.
All right, so Maury, let's take your comment.
Okay, so my comment is from Chris, and it says, on the topic of nose masks, government and clergymen are made up of people like you and me. Adhering to COVID-19 precautions is first and foremost a personal responsibility. And I like what he ended it with, and that's what I stated earlier, a personal responsibility. Yes. Your pastor has the right to say whatever he wants to say. He's entitled, that is his business. But it is your own responsibility to be able to decipher, is he saying what is right or is he going astray? That's just my own.
So that's my point. You're still not getting the point I'm trying to put across to EC. I'm saying that you say it is my responsibility for me to decipher whether what he's saying is right or wrong.
But I can't decipher because I don't have the
what if I have not been empowered to be able to decipher for myself?
If my imam now comes to say that don't wear your mask, I might not step my feet in that mosque ever again, because you're capping. I'm sorry, I don't know if that word is for TV, but he's capping.
No, that's what I'm saying to you, Maury, that you are saying this because your mind, right? You are on a different pedestal when it comes to the class of people that we're talking about. You have a mind of your own, right? The number of people that do not have a mind of their own, they are much more than us that can think that this is right from wrong, right? That's the point. Somebody sent me something on Twitter because he was saying that you're just looking for an avenue to attack. I think this is from Adeyemi by Ezekiel. You're just looking for an avenue to attack and ridicule the church. Check how the Asians are treating themselves of COVID-19. But Nigerian government foolishly just want to believe the NWO by claiming it has no cure but vaccine. I understand this part. Because even I have said it several times on this chair that I believe that whatever it is that is making our numbers not rise or people not drop dead like they predicted must be within Africa. It might be inside our food, it might be inside our herbs, it might be inside whatever it is that we have locally. So and that is what I'm saying, that, you see, I don't want us to make assumptions. Even with the government, I would have thought that a proactive government would be thinking, you know what, let us probe it. Why are we not having these high numbers of COVID-19 cases like we have other parts of the climate? Let's not just assume it is our weather. Are we doing research? Are we paying people to go and do research? What is making these numbers low? That's the point. So the thing is actually very, very scattered. The government has failed, right? And if we want to help ourselves, the clergymen, I would think should rise up to the challenge. I expect them to rise up to the challenge because a lot of us believe our pastors. We go to church, we go to mosque.
Absolutely.
Right? So what is the responsible thing for you to do as a clergyman?
Lead
do
them
the right
right
thing and lead right, you know?
Capish?
So let me take a comment from, okay, so Adebayo says, clergy men should help educate people in line with the laws of the land. Thank you so much, Adebayo. Then the prolonged impunity has affected the psychology of Nigerians. That's from Benson. As soon as a Nigerian have access to power/authority, the only action that comes next is to express impunity.
Exactly.
So this happens at all levels. That's what Benson is saying. And I totally agree with Benson that this is what we see. When you get a small opportunity, you take up.
Power corrupts.
Absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely.
So I was going to say something because I'm currently reading a book on leadership by Dr. Miles Moron. And when I saw this this part of the book, I just felt it was very important to to
bring it up.
To bring it up, you know. But I'll let you come in first before I bring up that. Let me look for it, you know.
Okay. So
I don't know. Maybe I'm talking too much.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. One thing I know is this. There was a pastor I actually listened to recently. I can't really remember who he is because we have so many pastors. And I took my time to listen to him. And he said something about leadership. And what he said was that we have to learn to be diplomatic in the way we do our dealings. And also remember to give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. So in this case, what he said was, no, let me not go into that. But the key thing is for us to understand that we need to believe in God. We need to hold on to our Christian religion or faith when it comes to, we go to church, we pray. But in this case, when it comes to COVID, it's scientific. So in terms of it being scientific, we need to look at it from the perspective of this is Caesar's. As this is for Caesar, we should give unto Caesar's. What is Caesar? Wear our nose mask. Take the precautionary measures and make sure that we are not found wanting. That's my take.
Absolutely. Maury?
Oh, you were saying something about how the clergymen should, all the pastors should, what's that word you use?
Educate?
Face the task or come up to standard with it. But it is also the same issue that me and you, like this is us going back and forth because I was saying that if my imam should say something about don't use your face mask, I'm not going to go into the mosque again. And then you say something about
okay, so sorry, Maury, hold on, Maury, 1 minute. I hear there's a caller on the line because they've been trying to call, sorry. And we run out of time. Hello?
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
Thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. We can hear you.
All right, I have been following the conversation word for word, and I want to key in something into it.
Sorry, in 1 minute.
When it comes to the whole church issue, I believe that Christians we should know God for ourselves. We should not just follow everything our religious leaders tell you. They tell you, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, but we should balance these things. The religious leaders, they come from one angle, you should come from your own angle. You should not just agree with everything our religious leaders tell us. That's why we have issues in Africa. In Nigeria right now, we just say, our pastors say, that is why we're leading us astray. If we balance these things and, okay, listen to what the pastor has to say and judge and we'll come to our own conclusion, we don't really need to, take in all the opinions our religious leaders are telling us. That's my own take on it. We should honor God for ourselves, and we should make our own judgments, not listen to everything the pastor is dashing at us. Just say dash, take. We're not taking everything. We're taking some, and we really
Thank you so much, Samuel.
Balance these things so that we'll not go astray.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you so much. So, Maury, I think that was what Maury was trying to say. Maury, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was trying to say that it's the same way that we have people who don't know how to decide the right from the wrong. That's the same way we have men of God, in quote, who don't know how to decipher what is right from what is wrong. So now the problem is that we need to find a solution. I don't know what the solution is going to be, but yeah, that's.
I think for me the solution would be.
Do you understand where?
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
That men of God should take action, should take charge.
Yeah.
But the same way we have followers who cannot decipher what is right from what is wrong, it's the same way we have men of God.
So I think the person with the higher authority should take the responsibility on themselves to do the right thing, if you ask me.
But they don't know what the right
Maury,
thing
your
is
daughter,
the problem.
listen, Maury, your daughter cannot tell wrong from right. You are the mother, right? You're supposed to, at this point, help guide her.
Exactly.
Right? Because she doesn't know anything better.
Exactly.
But Uwa, imagine now that my mentality is don't wear face mask. Is that not what I'm going to pass on to her?
So that's what we're saying, that you need to change that mindset and do the responsible thing. Right?
But I don't know
wrap
that.
It up. Sorry, let me just quickly. I think this commercial, I didn't expect it was going to go like this. But I was going to say that the fact that he was talking about true leadership, right? He says true leadership is not control or manipulations of others, but it is other people's willful submission of their authority to yours, motivated by inspiration.
Thank you.
Right? So for me, when you call yourself a leader, do you motivate people? Do you inspire people to want to follow you? Are you an inspirational leader, or you are this tell me what to do and I do it, a dictatorship leader?
Positive, because
right?
they all inspire.
Yeah,
but
positive.
What is it positive
right,
or
so
is negative?
I think thank you so much for. We're sorry we couldn't take more than that call, honestly. But we'll try to do this more often if we can keep the conversation short. Thank you, Maury. I think this conversation we might have to do a part 2.
Absolutely.
Because it's not something that we have exhausted, you know. But thank you again, Isi. Thank you, Maury.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. So Waze was birthed from the need to impact. And this year we're starting our CSR, focused on curbing unemployment. Now, if you are a company and you have available internship slots for us, please partner with us as we bring job seekers to you, or people that are willing to come in for internship. And if you are looking for a slot for internship, you can also reach us, and we'll find a way to place you in some of these companies. Now, this will be an all-year-round engagement, so keep telling your friends, you know, tell other friends, just keep watching Waze and follow us on all our social media platforms. Now, in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. When a leader encourages the culture of impunity, the society is lost, and it makes the work harder for the rest of us. That's from Wole Soyinka. Please, don't make life hard for us. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow live as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Bye.
Someday, tranquility will settle upon Borno State in northeast Nigeria. The ordinary rhythms of life in the rural areas will return, as will the everyday bustle of the city. But for now, a restless tension lurks beneath the surface. Not a moment goes by without the threat of violence. without the fear that the militant Islamic group Boko Haram might unleash an attack. A grim reminder of a conflict still to be resolved, a country's struggle with extremism, an unfinished journey from evil. Yet there are Nigerians who've stood up to the terror, who've shown the courage to fight back, the determination to go forward, and the resilience to forge a new future for their nation. Each morning in the town of Chibok, Rebecca Solomon goes about her chores. But what may appear a simple life became for her a nightmare that began on April 14th, 2014. That evening, Rebecca's daughter, Deborah, was staying overnight in a government school dormitory preparing to take exams the next day. The exams never took place. Deborah is one of the kidnapped Chibok girls believed to be held in a remote forest hideout.
So, anzo an ɗauke mini ita. So, kayana sun yi ne in koshi in wanke kayana. To dole in shiga damuwa.
It's been 1,000 days since Rebecca has seen her daughter. Deborah's abduction, along with over 200 other girls, exposed to the world Boko Haram's ruthlessness, as well as the dysfunction of Nigeria's government and military, and it stirred many Nigerians to take action on their own. Buki Shonibare had planned a career as a human resources consultant in Abuja, Nigeria's capital.
But then 2014, April 14 happened, and that just opened me up to another life entirely.
Buki became a frontline campaigner for the Bring Back Our Girls movement.
Last night I could not sleep, and for once I felt what it meant for those girls to be out there. And then we came out to stand in solidarity with these girls, and then we are being blocked off. Nothing will stop us. We will keep coming out until our girls return. What do we want? Action!
Aided by social media, the Bring Back Our Girls campaign sparked worldwide condemnation of Boko Haram.
Our girls! Bring back our girls! Our girls! Bring back! Bring back! Our girls! Bring back!
Like millions of people across the globe, my husband and I are outraged and heartbroken over the kidnapping of more than 200 Nigerian girls from their school dormitory in the middle of the night.
Boko Haram's leader, Abubakar Shekau, capitalized on the group's sudden notoriety, threatening to convert the girls to Islam, marry them off to his commanders, or sell them into slavery. For Buki, it was personal.
It's simply because I was once that girl. Even though I've not been abducted before, but I know what it means to be sexually molested. I know what it means to have to do something because you want to stay alive.
With the international community watching, the Nigerian government issued promises to save the girls. But the lack of swift action angered parents.
If the government cannot take action, we are asking for the United Nations to come in and help us. Or if the United Nations reject us, we just don't know what to do.
Within 2 weeks of the Chibok kidnappings, Buki had made up her mind to stay on the front lines and keep protesting until the girls came home.
and we were screaming like 15 whole days. Some parents have not seen their children. 15 whole days. Where are they? And then we had to commemorate 30 days. And we could not live with that reality.
In truth, the reality was worse. Bukky had no idea at the time, but the 30 days would eventually stretch into more than 3 years. Nigeria. Rich in oil and natural gas. A nation seeking to present itself as the image of modern Africa. But a country that is far from united.
180 million people plus 250 ethnic groups, thereabouts. This is a difficult country to govern at the best of times.
Splitting the north from the oil-rich south are cultural and economic fault lines that date far back to Nigeria's colonial past. In the predominantly rural and traditionally Muslim northeast, that fault line is fragile. Although Nigeria collects billions of dollars selling its oil each year, more than 60% of Nigerians live in poverty, many on less than $2 a day. In the northeast, the poverty rate is even higher.
We're speaking about northeastern Nigeria that is really one of the most impoverished and marginalized regions of the country. This is a region that had one of the lowest literacy rates in the country, one of the highest infant mortality rates in Nigeria. So the nature of governance was really poor to begin with, and people were frustrated in seeing the growing levels of inequality in this community.
Poverty and inequality, along with neglect by those with political power, helped sow a rebellious brand of Islam in the northeast. Its leaders took as their model one of the world's most brutal and dogmatic Islamist movements.
It was at that time in 2003 that there was a community of individuals that moved to the borderlands of Nigeria and Niger in an attempt to create a purist Islamic society based on the model of the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Originally, the group was peaceful and its message inclusive.
What they preached was, we have an alternative system. If the system you believe in does not value you and leaves you out, we will not do that. We are more inclusive, we will take care of you, we are doing Allah's will, and we will define our own society, an alternative society that is just and good. So that was very appealing, especially for people who felt left out.
But eventually, this alternative society split. The leader of its dominant faction wanted a pure form of Islam and an outright insurrection against the government. His name, Muhammad Yusuf. Yusuf was intelligent and charismatic, but bent on confrontation. People began calling his movement Boko Haram. Literally, Western education is forbidden. Although the group disavowed the name, and still does, it captured Yusuf's essential beliefs. He preached that Western values were undermining Islam, and he called for a holy war.
It's difficult for the West to understand jihad, in part because our modern societies are by their very nature essentially secular. We've come to terms that religion is not a reasonable pathway to organize modern society. Whereas those who are pushing for jihad are saying that religion is the correct way to shape a righteous Muslim society, a land of faithful Muslims. So invariably, those two positions are going to be extremely difficult to reconcile.
Yusuf's base was the northeastern city of Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. As his sermons became more militant, tensions with local authorities grew. Then, in 2009, Boko Haram exploded into Nigeria's wider consciousness. That June, police clashed with some of Yusuf's followers on their way to a funeral, wounding more than a dozen.
Kuma waɗannan mahaukatan sojojin in ba ɗauke su a cikin gari ba za a zauna lafiya ba.
Yusuf denounced the government actions, and a few weeks later, his followers struck back. With guns and grenades, they attacked police stations in several cities, with the heaviest assault in Maiduguri. Over 4 days of fighting, the police response was merciless. They rounded up Boko Haram suspects, killing them in the street. They destroyed Yusuf's mosque. Then they captured him and took him for interrogation. Hours later, his body was in the street. He'd been shot multiple times.
And he became a martyrdom figure to Boko Haram. And since 2009 until today, all factions of Boko Haram consider him their inspiration.
More than 1,000 people died in 4 days of fighting that July. Afterward, Boko Haram disappeared. But when they returned a year later, it was with more weapons and a new leader. A bombastic and violent Yusuf deputy, Abubakar Shekau. He proclaimed all-out war.
Their argument is a very simple one. You've come up after us. You've killed many of us. You've killed us literally by the thousands. You feel you've decimated our community. We will fight back. Now we will take jihad to you.
Over the next 4 years, Boko Haram put the Nigerian military and civilian security forces on their heels.
Within that period, the militancy and the insurgency of Boko Haram grew stronger and stronger, and it's in this context that Boko Haram was able to acquire land, acquire territory, with limited Nigerian response.
Boko Haram expanded its domain, but Maiduguri remained ground zero. The city of more than 500,000 had a teaching hospital and a university.
Before the insurgency, Maiduguri was a very quiet, peaceful town.
Fati Abubakar was a nursing student living with her family in Maiduguri at the time Boko Haram began its assault in 2010.
We were known for being very traditional, conservative people, and we all knew our neighbors. It was a very diverse community before Boko Haram.
Within months, Fati became a witness to the wholesale destruction of her hometown.
I watched everything happen, from the tension, the bomb blasts, the dead bodies on the streets, the houses burning. Sometimes our house would shake because of a bomb blast.
People soon fled. Fati and her family left in late 2012.
At the time, they were killing boys and kidnapping girls, so my parents were not comfortable with that. And then we moved to Abuja, and I lived there for 6 months before I went to London to study.
Fati completed her studies in London, writing a dissertation about the effects of war on the psychological health of refugees. And she found an outlet to help her cope with the loss she felt as a refugee herself.
I really took up photography around that time that I was struggling with all that was happening around Maiduguri, and I was really interested in how you can do visual storytelling and still have an impact on the community.
Fati returned to Maiduguri in 2015.
But when I came back, people had become desensitized. It was like a transformation. They didn't even feel any of it. They just kept going. So that was what, had my attention.
Fati imagined another side of the place she called home, a humane side she wanted to show the world. It was the opposite of the images of war and destruction flooding the global news, and from the deluded propaganda of Boko Haram. In its videos, Boko Haram's leader, Shekau, glorified the group's violence in the name of Islam. But hidden inside his secretive caliphate, the reality was starkly different. Boko Haram brutalized fellow Muslims. beating and killing them at will to maintain control and religious piety. Graphic evidence of the group's conduct surfaced in 2016 when Voice of America journalists obtained and authenticated some 18 hours of videos shot by Boko Haram's own photographers. The raw footage is an unflinching record exposing how one of the world's deadliest extremist movements operates behind the scenes. A daily diary of terror. At public tribunals designed to enforce authority by intimidation and fear, villagers were herded together for displays of discipline. For small sins, offenders were flogged, sometimes by their peers. But for offenses like selling drugs, the punishment was ultimate. No pleading for the accused. Just a bullet in the heart or the head.
When Boko Haram first became violent, the attacks were mostly on the Nigerian state itself. So government offices, prisons, police headquarters. As time went on, and it seems that Boko Haram felt more and more aggrieved, its targets widened and widened, until now it seems to be anybody.
In their encampments, Boko Haram soldiers, many mere boys, trained for warfare and played like children.
The media characterizes Boko Haram as madmen, as crazy, as psychopaths. But what we can see in the footage of the foot soldiers is that in many respects, they go around their daily business just like kids in any other part of the world. We also see them receiving pep talks before battle, where they're told some of you are going to die and some soldiers are going to die. The difference is the soldiers aren't going to go to paradise and you are. And this goes to show that ideology plays a very important part of motivating them to engage in acts of killing. And after a period of time, these young boys become regular Boko Haram fighters willing to sacrifice their lives for the broader mission of the commanders to establish some form of Islamic governance.
It's impossible to know how many Nigerian boys have been conscripted into Boko Haram. Likely, it's several thousand. The penalty for refusal is severe. Danladi was abducted when he was 12, but found a way out later. Shown the Boko Haram video footage, he recognized some commanders and recounted how boys were forced to fight. Shekau made clear that Boko Haram would cleanse Nigeria of anyone who didn't submit to its brand of Islam. Men or women, young or old, Christian or Muslim.
The Shekau faction of Boko Haram has a belief system whereby any Muslim that does not join their group is an apostate because they are fighting a legitimate jihad. And therefore, the idea that a Muslim would get killed in a Boko Haram attack, either because they're targeted or because it's collateral damage, is really not something that the Shekau faction worries about, because their penalty for not joining the group and being apostates is death anyway.
2015 marked a shift in the war. The Nigerian army, aided by military from neighboring Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, began reclaiming towns and territories once under Boko Haram's control. The momentum quickened under a new president, Muhammadu Buhari, elected that year. But the government's success also brought disturbing allegations of human rights abuses, excesses by the military and civilian vigilantes in their zeal to defeat Boko Haram. Amnesty International cited thousands of summary executions, arbitrary arrests, and instances of torture by Nigerian forces, war crimes the group said went unpunished.
The Nigerian government somehow have some doubts in what Amnesty is doing, but all the same, they have come clean and set up a presidential task force, and you have to take into account the composition of members of the panel. They are not people that could be manipulated, they can be manipulated, and they are judges of repute, and we wait and see the results.
As the government ramped up its pursuit of Boko Haram, Abubakar Shekau changed his strategy too. Boko Haram officially aligned with the Islamic State, or ISIS, the jihadi group waging war in Iraq and Syria.
Shekau, in 2015, formally pledged allegiance to ISIS, and ISIS responded to this. Some see this as because this coincided with the time when Boko Haram was coming under increasing pressure from the Nigerian military. It was being pushed back. After this, you had the Pledge of Allegiance to ISIS. So it's read as actually this is something of a desperate move on the part of Boko Haram.
Boko Haram could claim affiliation with the largest jihadi group in the world. It began using Islamic State templates in its social media postings, but it was an insurgency on the run. At least 3 times the Nigerian military claimed Shekau had been killed, yet each time he survived, reappearing like a ghost in new videos, recorded in a remote hideout somewhere deep in the northeast bush. The Sambisa forest, a thick jumble of thorny scrub and scattered trees spread across 5 northern states. A portion was set aside as a game reserve, but its once abundant wildlife has been depleted by war. Now parts of the Sambisa are Boko Haram's sanctuary, a vast area of danger for anyone who dares enter. In a village nearby, Aisha Bakari Gombi lives with her family. In her part-time job as a seamstress, she works with hands and feet in creative concentration, at peace, away from the violence that prowls in the countryside. But the rhythm of the sewing machine is only one facet of her world. Aisha knows the Sambisa well. It was there as a young girl that she was initiated in a long-standing family tradition. Boko Haram raided her village 3 times before the Nigerian government allowed people to fight back on their own. Now, instead of hunting antelope, baboons, and birds, Aisha goes after a different prey: Boko Haram militants. She is part of a group of hunters who go out in search of insurgents, ready to fight if the situation arises.
Boko Haram ba mutum bane. To Boko Haram ne ya isa zai kama mutum da ransa, ya kama shi ya yanka shi da zarton da ake yanka katako. Boko Haram zai kama mace da ciki ya yanka ta ya fidda da a cikin cikinta ya jefar da shi. Boko Haram zai kama yaro jinjiri ya karya wuyansa ya jefar, ya kama yara ƙanana ya murda wuya ya jefa a kogi.
At the start of their patrol, the hunters take part in spiritual rituals. They believe it will protect against enemy bullets and other dangers in the forest.
Akwai abubuwa irin namu na gargajiya waɗanda muke amfani da su. Wani muna amfani da shi don mu sha, wani mu shafa, wani mu sheƙa, wani mu yi hayaƙi, har ma wanka akwai. To mukan yi su ne kafin mu fita. To ai dajin dama shi muka riga muka saba. Babu wani abun da yake ba mu tsoro a cikin daji. Duk lokacin da muka shirya in za mu fita ko dare ko rana ne shiganta muke yi babu fargaba.
Aisha and her team not only search for insurgents, they're also on the lookout for captives fleeing from Boko Haram camps. Their stories can be heartbreaking.
Akwai matar da muka bari yanzu haka tana kam namu mu a inda muka yi sansani mu a cikin garin Lasa. Suka zo suka sace ta da yara 6 da aka tafi da su aka je aka ajiye su a can sun kai watanni suna wajen. Ranar da Allah ya taimake ta ya bata nasarar za ta gudu ta dawo. To su wayannan yan ƙanana guda 2, ɗaya ta goya ɗaya kuma ta ɗauka ta rataya a kafaɗanta. Haka ta haƙura da wayancan saura guda 4 ta ɗauko 2 ta kamo hanya ta dawo.
Aisha's efforts fighting Boko Haram earned her the respect of fellow villagers. They call her the Queen Hunter.
Gaskiya ba zan iya sani ba don an kubutar da yawa. Na kwanakin nan ko kuma in ce na shekaran jiya mun kubutar da 9.
Later that day, Aisha and her band apprehended 3 Boko Haram fighters. They delivered them to authorities by truck. A commotion of curious villagers parading behind them. Success like this inspires her to continue the work, despite the danger.
Ani dai ina son duniya ta sani. Aikin da muke yi dai mu aiki ne na ceto da nema wa ƙasar mu zaman lafiya. Zaman lafiya nake son wa Najeriya. Ina so in ga Najeriya ta zauna lafiya kamar yadda sauran ƙasashe suke zaune lafiya.
They appear in seemingly endless streams, fleeing terror, bringing with them only what they can carry. Day and night, they've lost their homes, their farms, their livestock, in the worst cases, their children. And for now, they've no hope of returning.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
This is it.
I mean, how can anyone think that if I tell him to
On Plus TV Africa News tonight, Inspector General of Police orders a posting and redeployment of 20 police commissioners. On the foreign scene, Uganda shuts down social media ahead of Thursday's election. In outside Africa, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo alleges Iran new home base for Al-Qaeda. Well, many thanks for joining us on the News on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye. There has been a major shake-up at the police high command as 9 commissioners of police were posted to state command while 12 others were redeployed to other police formations across the country. Consequently, CP Ari Muhammad Ali, who was the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations at Lagos State Police Command until the recent promotion, was posted to the Delta State Police Command. CP Adeleke Bode was posted to Kebbi State. CP Philip Mako to the Special Protection Unit, Force Headquarters, Abuja. CP Ali Janga Aji to the Sokoto State Police Command. CP Ohikere Idris is to head the Force Armament, Force Headquarters, Abuja, and CP Daniel Sokari Pedro is to head the Police College, Ikeja, Lagos, among other postings. A statement issued by the Force Headquarters and signed by the Deputy Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Aremu Adeniro, said the postings and redeployment are with immediate effect. Now, the court-martial sitting in Maiduguri, Borno State capital, has sentenced Trooper Azunna Maduabuchi to death by firing squad for killing the adjutant of his unit, Lieutenant Babakaka Ngoge. Trooper Maduabuchi was arraigned for murder after shooting Lieutenant Ngoge in July 2020 at close range in Bama local government area of Borno State for refusing to grant him a welfare pass. He was sentenced to death by firing squad after he was found guilty at the court session held at the Memalari Cantonment, Maiduguri. Now, this is in accordance with Section 106 of the Armed Forces Act. Some other soldiers were arraigned for manslaughter and sentenced to various years of imprisonment. Now, troops of the Operation Sahel Sanity based in Faskari, Katsina State have killed 10 bandits and lost 1 soldier in recent operations in various parts of the state. Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyuko made the revelation in a statement made available to journalists in Katsina on Tuesday. He revealed that 2 other soldiers who suffered minor injuries during the operations were responding to treatment. According to him, the troops also arrested 2 bandits collaborators and recovered some weapons during the operations. Away from all of that now, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it is reviewing its adopted technologies for elections with the view of introducing new ones to improve conduct of the elections ahead of 2023. INEC Director of Voter Education and Publicity Department, Nick Dazang, announced these at a workshop for the Department of the Review of National Voter Education Manual held in Kefi, Nasarawa State. The 5-day workshop is organized by INEC in partnership with the Westminster Foundation for Democracy. Dazang, speaking with newsmen on the sideline of the workshop, said INEC began the process for electronic voting since 2004 when it introduced optic map registration forms. He said that in introducing the new technologies, INEC would revisit the use of card readers and likely to introduce other technologies that will work seamlessly with electronic voting in 2023. Now, the conversation on religious violence is once again popular across Nigeria, with recent warnings by the Department of State Security. What are the implications of these warnings, and what does this mean across the country? Osaoge Obonwan reports.
The Department of State Security recently put out a warning to all Nigerians on plans by certain elements and external forces to incite religious violence in states across Nigeria. The information has gathered and generated a lot of conversations across the country about the safety of Nigerian lives and property, and also the idea of Nigeria 60 years after independence still having tense religious divisions that can be so easily exploited.
These fault lines that we have, ethnic, religious, ethno-religious sentiments, are major weapons in the hands of the ruling class, who, having run out of ideas about how to get to power, how to consolidate in power, now have gone back to the old age primordial, parochial sentiment of using base issues such as religion, ethnicity, geopolitics.
I would like to appreciate the DSS for what they've done so far. A few people may disagree, but I think they've done their job, which is to alert and inform the populace, the citizens, about what they've picked up from the intelligence community.
All the questions that have been raised are about the responsibility of Nigeria's intelligence and security agencies to quell such attacks with the resources available in information and intelligence gathering.
Intelligence management business all over the world is not like 1 + 1 = 2. No. Depends on what you want to achieve at a particular point in time. Now, we don't know the preponderance of intelligence that the DSS are having. And the course of action that they will take is based on what the amount of intelligence that they have, what would be the best course of action.
Also, what is the role of religious leaders at a time like this?
What we will do as a church is to be calm, be watchful, be prayerful, but at the same time, we must never, ever, as against our scriptures, to go on rampage, to go on revenge, for vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
As we take steps further into the year 2021, Nigerians can only hope for a more peaceful nation. Osaogie Ogbonwa reporting for Plus TV Africa News.
We're talking party politics now. The All Progressives Congress APC has inaugurated a Women and Youth Mobilization Committee, expected to help increase its membership among women and youth at its forthcoming membership registration and revalidation exercise. While inaugurating the committee at the party's headquarters in Abuja, Chairman of the APC Caretaker Committee, Maimala Buni, tasked them to fulfill the task of mobilizing women and youth across all states in Nigeria. Buni, who assured them of the party's support, urged them to leave no stone unturned in their quest to fulfill their mandates.
I'm glad to say that the party, under the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, is undertaking some strategic measures to properly reposition our women and youth to either revalidate their membership or register afresh. You should leave no stone unturned to ensure
about our great party. We are going to sensitize the Nigerian people. We are going to mobilize, and we're going to have membership of this party triple, if not quadruple.
And now to diplomatic matters. The federal government has finally approved the postings of ambassador designates to Nigerian missions abroad. In a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda, the posting, which was approved by President Muhammad, signed with the federal government last year. The union members protested the discrepancy of the payment of salaries through the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPS), non-payment of the 13-month arrears of the new minimum wage, among others. Addressing journalists at the institution's campus, Chairman of FUNAP SANU, Fashion Olurotimi Williams, accused the federal government of insincerity and failure to keep its promises. Also speaking, Vice Chairman of the union, Adewale Ojoye, described the IPs as contentious and fraudulent.
Our issues under the MOU, government, if they want peace in the university, if they want the students to resume, they must implement our aim allowances as part of our monthly salaries.
We talk about payment of end allowances.
These end allowances are part of our 2009 agreement.
Technological advancement of the country. Now, the director who made the call while speaking with newsmen in an exclusive interview said government should adequately fund research works and implementations so that Nigeria could compete favorably with other advanced countries.
We should be able to think as a nation, and we should be able to think as the nation, start something. But as it is now, nobody is doing anything. So if I begin to invent a little machine I can use to lift this table and move to the next place, so the next time I will lift it, I don't need to look for 10 laborers to come and carry for me. I just take that machine, press it down, it moves it. Because that's what they do in other nations.
Speaking further, Dr. Oyeyinka opined that the state governor, Dapo Abiodun, had been a great source of inspiration and toward a term as the continuous violation of citizens' freedom to association and free speech. The group, during the protest and presentation of a petition to the Human Rights Commission in the state, says the continuous arrest and detention of Nigerians is a violation of their right to free speech and against the tenets